One day I'ma make you my wife. I'ma make you mine. I was excited, but I was falling in love with you. And now that I've fallen, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Said I was excited, cause I was falling in love with you. And now that I've fallen, what am I gonna do? Do whatever puts a smile on my baby's face. You are my best friend, and you can never be replaced. There's nothing in this world I wouldn't do for you. See, you are one of my favorite dreams, and I'm so glad that you came true. Yeah. So we can do whatever we want to. Yeah. One day I'ma make you my wife. Hey, I was excited cause I was falling in love with you. Falling in love with you. And now that I've fallen, what am I gonna do? Hey, I was excited cause I was falling in love with you. And now that I fall, what am I gonna do? Yeah, ask the boss.
Yeah. So you know I gotta come with a little music. You know what I mean? Some good singing and music playing. So, title of this video: Phil Valentine exposes Queen Afua. Now, of course, I'm being a little extra dramatic, you know. Yeah, what would it be without some drama? Without some drama, y'all wouldn't even watch videos or my videos. You know what I mean? So, I'm being a little extra. But for real, though, he exposes Queen Afua, and then we're going to talk about some of Phil Valentine's buddies and teachers and things like that. So, like, herbalists always have a history of somebody who was doing something like that before they were doing it, right? So, I was just going looking at some vintage early conscious community videos. Y'all young bucks, so we're gonna have a little class on early conscious community history. So bear with me. So Phil Valentine goes in on Queen Afua. Now I don't know if he was just in his feelings this day or what, but this is a while back. But I used to go to Phil Valentine lectures in the late 90s. I remember coming to see Phil Valentine at the Crenshaw Mall. He was doing a lecture during I think it was Black History Month or something. But Phil Valentine's lecture was like 7 hours. You know what I mean? And he talked for 7 hours about. No, let me see. No, it was about a total of 7 hours. I don't know if it was 2 days or we took a break and people came back for another 4 hours and shit like that. But he talked all this time about health and, you know, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, right? And everybody's like, yeah, you know. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, okay, this man teaching, he teaching. This man is deep. So in the late 90s. So after he almost finished the lecture, during the question and answer period, people were like, well, what should we eat? This motherfucker said, you know, all you really need is sunlight and water. Boy, I was done with Phil Valentine after that. I said, you got to be kidding me. From that day on, in the late 90s, I think it was, I started looking at him sideways and shit like this motherfucker. But anyway, we'll play this video. Then we're going to go back to some herbal we're going to talk about and listen to Dr. Moore, the hobo herbologist, who was before Phil Valentine. But watch, and we're going to talk about it and have an interesting herbology history real quick up out of New York.
And even added a few to my book called The Wounded Womb. Science be damned. Common sense be the goal. But you say, Reverend Valentine, how can...
Bam, let me pause it. But you got to catch what he just said. He said, science be damned. Common sense be the goal. Let me just repeat it in case you didn't hear it.
But you say, Reverend Valentine, how can we have common sense be the goal? Be damned. The wounded womb. Science be damned. Common sense be the goal.
So, this is how most of the people in the conscious community are anti-science because of these false teachers like Phil Valentine. And just use your common sense. Fuck science. Fuck the professionals. Fuck the credentialed people. We got you. We got you. We want your money. Don't worry about them doctors and don't worry about science. Get these herbs and forget all that shit. So over the years, I'm just trying to tell you the history of why you guys think like you think. Right? So it's just they in history, in health, conscious community history, conscious community health, care and wellness is all about removing the professionals and the credentialed people out the way, and we'll take care of you. Black power. So, you know what I mean? So this is how the cult life begins, right? So let me continue. I'm not going to interrupt till he finishes.
But you say, Reverend Valentine, how can we have common sense? But you say, Reverend Valentine, common sense be the goal. But you say, Reverend Valentine, how can we have common sense without scientific analysis of the problem? Easy. Common sense was our ancestors' science. All formulas for the sciences of being and behavior grew from the intuitive pool of common sense. Western medical science and all of the reeking intellectual horseshit you've been mentally digesting as your education was based on an ecclesiastical belief system that teaches you to become a legalized dope pusher. And
so he's like, you know, this is like, I wasn't going to interrupt no more, but, you know, he just bashes the professionals, right? I forgot what I was going to say, but let me leave it alone. Go ahead.
And when I say dope pusher, I mean dope dealer from both.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Like when you say our African ancestors. See, that's why Africa got his ass whooped and colonized. Because they weren't scientifically literate. Okay? They didn't have the gunpowder and the guns and the advanced shipbuilding technology, and you know, they was scientifically behind. And it's okay. You know, it's not a shot. It's just the reality. And others were able to come up in there and colonize and whoop our ass. So those are the ways you don't want to go back to. You know, you have to be scientifically literate to advance and progress in the modern world. Okay? Science is important. So don't let these people badmouth science to you. Don't let this white man, Phil Valentine, come up in the community and miseducate people. Yeah, I said this white man.
Perspectives to become a legalized dope pusher. And when I say dope pusher, I mean dope dealer from both perspectives. The kind that you give people by prescription and the kind that you dispense to people as professional advice. The same advice that can't save you as a doctor from contracting the same damn diseases you claim to be healing people of. Now, don't I sound belligerent? I'm not. Because when you see what I'm about to unfold for my sisters, and you see what it is that we have to face as a people, and what it is and how intrinsic and how subtle and how devious the plan was to separate us, the man and the woman, from each other, and how to play the game of power between the two in the home, you'll understand why our sisters are suffering here today. Now, before I go on at the break, when we do have our break, and brother will tell me when we have our break, I want to let you know that we will have specific pieces of information dealing with solutions. This is an extrapolation from a book that I'm writing called Neogenesis. This is called The Sacred Principles of Health. This was the original name of a book that you might all know called Heal Thyself. Have you heard of it? Yeah. Oh, really? Well, this was the original name. And you say, well, I've heard brothers and sisters say, well, you were married to Queen Afua? No, you weren't. Yes, I was. I'll show you a wedding picture. Take a close-up of this. Down here. Are you up on it? That's me, grinning like a Cheshire cat, and that's her looking just as silly. This is a wedding. You know who that is? That was my best man. You know who that is? Imhotep Gary Bird.
Now, remember the two names he calls out, Imhotep Gary Bird and the hobo herbalist, Dr. Moore.
That was my best man. You know who that is? Imhotep Gary Bird. Can I get a witness? Yeah, I have witnesses. You know who married us? Dr. John Moore, the hobo herbologist. Old John Moore, before he passed or was assassinated.
He wasn't assassinated. They go fill with that bullshit. But he did die. A lot of herbalists always die. Talk that shit and die early.
Before he passed or was assassinated. So, when I'm saying what I'm saying it to be real. This whole thing, a lot of brothers and sisters, especially sisters who knew us from way back then, says, it's time that you come out and start saying something about this whole thing. And I say it's not necessary. Yes, it's necessary because sister's about to come out with a book called The Sacred Woman. The Sacred Woman, really? Well, that's a little something that I had something to do with as well. And again, this is no aspersions because I'm clearing the air. Sister put in the book Heal Thyself something called The 12 Principles of the Sacred Woman, which I wrote for her. So if you're reading about how to become the 12 Principles of the Sacred Woman, I wrote it. At one time, we were supposed to put together the Goddess Principle, and this is when we were together. We were very happy, and we said, well, what is it that we can help sisters with so that they could flourish and know how to heal themselves and become women? Well, it was supposed to be the Goddess Principle. Well, Brother Samaj at the time, we were talking to him, said, well, Goddess is too much Greek. All right, well, let's deal with the Sacred Woman. I came up, Sacred Woman, the 12 Principles of the Sacred Woman. And I'm hoping, the reason why I'm saying this now and putting it on the record as of this date is I'm hoping that when the book comes out, she did not put this in again without getting my permission, because she did it the last time. Clearing the air, brothers and sisters. Because a lot that when the book comes out, she did not put this in again without getting my permission, because she did it the last time. Clearing the air, brothers and sisters. Because a lot of brothers have been sitting in the back. I don't care what it is our personal life was about. That ain't none of your business. But when it comes to dealing with money and business, and she's dealing with money and business, and our personal life was about, that ain't none of your business. But when it comes to dealing with money and business, and she's dealing with money and business, and people are telling me I better deal with money and business, well, it's time for me to start taking a little bit of credit, which is something that I have never been doing. So if you want to deal with that, we have it over there. This book as well. And as we go along, I want you all to get your pencils and paper because we're going to be doing a candida test. We're going to find out just what your true disease is, because do you know, sisters, that candida can emulate at least 15 different types of symptoms that doctors don't understand or realize when they can't diagnose it. 9 times out of 10, it's candida related. So what we have here and what I put together is a candida test. So you can take it or you can buy it and have your girlfriends go through it, have a circle and a sit down to find out what score you get. And invariably, 90% of you will have some form of symptom based upon candida.
All right. Now, remember the guys, the two names of the two guys I told you about that he mentioned, excuse me. One is Gary Bird. Also, they used to call him Imhotep Gary Bird. So I just want to show you who Gary Bird is. Gary Bird is a guy who, one of my teachers, Mathu Attar, I believe he said he was one of the, he was the first conscious rapper. You understand what I'm saying? So Imhotep Gary Bird is supposed to be one of the first conscious rappers. And I believe he was. So let's just look a brief clip of him. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but let's just listen real quick. So you can see who Gary Bird is, who was Phil Valentine's best man at his wedding, a good friend of his. So these are like two guys that Phil Valentine looked up to and learned from. And I like Gary Bird. He was very articulate. He had a radio show. He was friends with Stevie Wonder, did music and wrote music with Stevie Wonder. I like Gary Bird. Here we go.
His tribute to Bob Marley. Well, he's done it again with his co-writer on some of these songs, Gary Bird. They've burst into the British pop chart with The Crown, a 10-minute rap on some of the best-known black names in history. We can't play it all, but here's just a flavour. By the way, the robotics are by a South London group called Modus Operandi.
When you wear the crown, you will not need to smoke to come to dust or speed. With the crown, you can become the high, and you will make it if you try. But don't you ever forget what it will take to wear the crown. You cannot fake. If you're gonna lead, you got to be a king and give the world your everything. Or be a man like Malcolm X and demand for all the very best. Or conduct a railroad like Harriet. We all owe her a lifetime debt. If you're gonna fight, don't do it free. Make them pay to see, just like Ali. Or sing like Ella and make them guess. Is it you or is it Memorex? If you play a sport, become number one, like Joe Louis and Jackie Robinson. Make Dr. J your shining star. Shoot like magic, dunk with Jabbar. Or if you can write, then write some books like Langston Hughes or mine. We have no claim to be renowned.
Gary, welcome to Black on Black. Now, The Crown has been streaking up the charts. I think it came in at 21. It's now at number 6. And you went round the clubs on Saturday. How's it been doing? What's the reception been
Well,
like?
it's been doing very well. I came really to London from Germany, from Munich, actually, where we did
I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm just going to play a brief clip of hear me speak and skip over.
a videotaping for a television show there called Formula One. And we came in really kind of for the first evening for sort of a night on the town, a quiet night, I was told. And when we went around to the clubs, the reaction was just so fantastic, really from...
Is in The Crown to black history. And for instance, at the beginning, the part that we didn't play, you make a reference to a black crew who sailed to America long before Columbus. Who are they?
Yes, well, Dr. Ivan van Sertima, who is from Guyana, has documented in a book called They Came Before Columbus the fact that 2,000 years before Columbus arrived to the New World, that Africans had made the journey, not one time, but several times, and not by accident, but deliberately. The proof of their visit...
Now, this is not actually true history, but at the time, this is just what they believed from the information that they had. You know, I'm not mad at him for it. He was a conscious brother. And this is like, it was like the beginnings of what we consider the modern day conscious community. You know, like Dr. Ben took his trip around, first trip, I think he took a bunch of African Americans, was around 1983, 84. So these are like the beginning stages of what we would consider the modern day conscious community. Of course, we have, you know, a more older history, but, you know, just follow me.
It is a series of stone heads which are about 8 feet high and which weigh somewhere between 40 and 50 tons. Now, these stone heads have on their faces features that are absolutely African in origin.
You introduced rapping into your DJ work. Why did you do that?
Well, I was exposed in 1965 when I actually got connected with radio at about age 15 to a tape, which was a tape of a style that was being done at that point, which started in the late 50s by American black DJs who were rapping to the beat.
Yeah.
And
So he said they were rapping to the beat in the 50s. Okay.
when I heard this style on the tape, no one was doing it in my hometown, which is Buffalo, New York. And I was sort of entranced by the idea. So when I got a full-time show at 17 after working a year part-time, I decided I would do this. Now, the sort of thing that they were into in the first tape I heard was a guy by the name of Jocko Henderson. And Jocko would do a thing back in the late 50s and early 60s that was based around what he called the rocket ship show. So he would have a thing where he'd say, once again, it's rocket ship time, and those not aboard must be out of their mind. The Rocketeers are lined up side by side, are ready to take a most exciting ride. From the Earth to the moon, you've got to go with your rocket ship commander, Jocko. Back on the scene with the record machine. Correct time now is 5:16.
Now, later on you moved to New York, and through
Yes.
your radio show there, when you did rapping as well, you came to know Stevie Wonder, who
Yes.
I gather was a fan of your radio show.
Yeah, ironically, it was kind of a mutual admiration society. I grew up, as many of us have, listening to Steve and admiring him. I bought a little slide harmonica when I was 14, trying to play fingertips, vainly I might add. And the result of my being on the air was I was doing rapping on the air, and Steve would call me. He's a very avid radio listener, and he would call and say, hey, I really like that rap that you did, you know, and that was pretty good. And it was sort of encouraged me, and it began the development of our relationship.
Well, you wrote some lyrics for him to songs that he'd already written, but this time I believe that you had the idea for The Crown, and you took it to Stevie, who then did the music for it.
Yes, actually, I was lyricist for Village Ghetto Land and for Black Man, and about 2 or 3 years later, I had an idea for something called The Crown, and the purpose was to somewhat tell our story and to put together something that would be motivational to people of all races.
Yes.
And I was on my way to the studio when Stevie called, and he said, hey, what you up to? And I said, well, I'm on my way to the studio, and I got the session, and it's really getting late. You know, I said, so I'm, really running a little bit behind. He said, oh, what are you up to? I said, I'm recording a tune called The Crown. And he said, what's The Crown? I said, it'd take too long to explain. Believe me, I said, but I'll record it, and I'll give you a call back. He says, no, I want to hear it. So I said, okay, well, I played it through the telephone, and he said, in the middle of it, he started sort of shouting. I said, what's wrong? Is it too loud? He said, no, I want you to catch the next plane to Los Angeles because I'm the only one who can do that music for you.
Yes. Well, you are both very interested in this business of using music to explain the black people their history.
Yes.
This is something that you both have in common.
Yes.
What are you going to be doing in future?
Well, yeah, I'm very much committed to the idea of reaching people on a national and international level. Music certainly serves that purpose, and my efforts are going to continue in recording and also into radio and to television, hopefully internationally in terms of being able to reach out to people across the globe with communications.
Now, if this were your show and you were signing off, how would you do it in New York when you're finishing off your show? What sort of
Well,
thing do you say?
I'll do it as if I'm in London.
Okay,
let's say.
right.
Okay.
This is the London rap.
Here we go, the London rap. Okay, I might say, London, if you dig jazz, funk, or soul, then you know that I'm your guy. I keep the music mighty mellow and the conversation fly. Now I want you to know that qualification is an indication of what will make you a sensation across the nation and a natural asset to any situation. I'll join you tomorrow in the GBE. Until then, remember, life is the ultimate trip once you learn to experience it.
Oh, Gary, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, I like Gary. Now, that was Phil Valentine's best man at his wedding when he married Queen Afua. Okay, so like when I joke and say, oh, your teachers are rappers, and people just think, I'll say all your teachers are rappers. Like even in the conscious community, most everybody, all your teachers, like Tariq Nasheed, rapper, entertainer. Shaka Amos, Lord Abba, Minister Iki, Ali Muhammad, Young Pharaoh. So your teachers are rappers. Okay, so the other guy who was like his teacher, the guy who married them, I think he was kind of like a teacher or mentor. But this is where a lot of these herbalists get this talk from. It's a line of them, even beginning with Dr. Sebi and people like this, Dr. John E. Moore. Of course, he wasn't a real doctor, but they've always carried on that lie and act like they were doctors. And at that time, they wasn't doing naturopathic stuff, so I don't know what kind of doctor he claimed to be. But he's an entertaining man, and I'm going to. Here we go. Let's do this one. I'm going to play this whole clip with one interruption. This is just interesting talk. He's walking around Harlem around 1983, 84, something like that. I told you, those are the beginning stages of the modern day conscious community. But he's entertaining and funny. But he has these quack remedies and shit. You can have to need certain. You can cure your gallstones. That's the big as his fist by eating watermelon and what is it, corn silk. So this is what Phil Valentine. These people get these wild ass stories and storytelling and entertaining with a bunch of pseudoscience and shit that's not correct. But this is how it started. So here we go. Let's listen to Dr. Johnny Moore. First, he goes to a watermelon truck. There's other videos of him where he's going by bushes in New York, around Harlem, and talking about this plant could be good for this, and this plant seed is LSD, and and talking about Dr. John Carver, and here we go.
I recognize it. You did? All right.
In other words, so just so you know, this is Dr. John E. Moore. They called him the hobo herbologist. And I got this video off YouTube, but also it's on King Simon's page. He has some vintage shit. But check out the hobo herbologist, John E. Moore, who was the guy who married Queen Afua and Phil Valentine. Okay? The health and wellness conscious community cult.
Say it with the leg of the all right, just a minute, hold up. All right, just gather around a minute. We didn't come to rob you, just for a minute, educational. Now.
So let me just I'm gonna just let this go, and if y'all got time to watch it, cool. I suggest maybe you watch the first 3 minutes. If you don't have time to watch 30 minutes, because I'm just gonna let it play and let this entertain you. I like the way he entertains. So notice all these herbalists like Dr. Sebi, a hobo herbologist, Phil Valentine. They're entertaining. They like to do storytelling and shit. And that's what keeps your attention off the science. So they're entertaining you and making you feel good. And then you end up buying this shit.
The watermelon is supreme. It is 1 hour supreme fruit. We're just using it for a few minutes. The watermelon is a gift from Africa to America. The watermelon grows in...
Pause. Notice he has a crowd of black people. It's no YouTube and internet like that at this time. So you just in the streets doing your thing, gathering people, and you develop a schedule and you just go around teaching.
In many parts of the world, wow. Some of them grows high 60 to 80 pounds. The melon here is considered the water in serious problems of the desert. It's considered for a survival food. But the inside of the melon holds the key to many of the kidney problems of the modern day world. How much you charge for a watermelon? $4. $4? When you have kidney problem, what it run you? For $4, listen to this, no chip. For $4, you can buy one watermelon and get 1 teaspoon of corn silk from the roast meal that you throw in the garden and eliminate kidney stone big as my hand in your body without surgical operation.
Corn silk.
I said watermelon. What is it? Table with a spoon of corn silk. You can cure kidney stones.
Corn silk and watermelon seed. That is without surgical operation. Spoon of corn silk from the roast. You can buy 1 watermelon and get 1 teaspoon of corn silk from the roast meal that you throw in the garden and eliminate kidney stone big as my hand in your body without surgical operation.
Corn silk and what?
Corn silk and watermelon seed. And if you didn't have a pot, you could get a can and make a fire with newspaper. You can take watermelon seed and ground it up in a powder form and thicken your soup. It makes one of the best lemon meringue pie thickeners anywhere in the world. Shit. You don't know because you're not taught that. You can have it as a preserve, and you can ground the peeling up and mix it with oat and piss in the jar and blow up the truck. Survive everywhere. See the planter, we won't pick this here, but the planters survive everywhere. And they are a complete green. And it's very important that nature picks her place. These are planters. This is the leaf planters. Then you will see. Now there are different types of planters, about 122,000.
Now wait a minute, you see more in the background. Look, hold on. See the hat? Some of y'all wasn't even born in '83. You know? Well, I was what? I graduated high school in '87. So I was 9th grade, 8th grade.
Planters, about 122,000 different planters. Now we are looking at an improvement and the decline of
No,
man.
I'm sorry, that's not a Moor. I don't know what they was into over here in New York at that time, but it looked like he has a 6-pointed star, the Star of David, on the fez with the tassel. So that's a 6-pointed star with the fez. So I don't know what he's into, but probably some Moorish Hebrew stuff.
Man, ain't that right? I just step back a minute. Yeah, a cup of planter's leaf tea will help your husband every day. But I want you to look at it. This is good for internal bleeding. Most people die on the operating table from internal bleeding. No one can stop the blood pressure. That will stop it. Not only that, that is a very good green. In case you ever have to have a beef stew to make money. I know it's against, but sometimes you can't save all these dog folks because the devil have already got them anyway. And if you try to save them, you'll be destroyed. But you make a good beef stew, and you go out and pick the wild leaves in your little car and throw them in the cooking pot. And it gives the food a supreme nutrition taste. See, because the taste bud is very peculiar of the human mind. You don't have to be good looking. You don't have to have no damn education. It's the way you cook the pot. You'll get a man and get anything you want and won't be no question about it. You understand? If you can't love him, then you should know how to cook for him. See? Now, this will automatically help the old man that his standing rod is failing. It's heavy, ain't it? We have all kind of money, fancy clothes.
Is he just going around looking at plants and shit and making up stuff? Oh, but I like him. Like I like Bobby Hemmett. Bobby Hemmett is my favorite pseudo because he's entertaining and funny, and he has that same feel. Now I don't believe a word they saying, but I just like to hear him talk.
Crocodile underwear.
Pick up any old thing and start telling you something about it.
And then when we go to bed, ain't shit there. Nothing. You don't go buy no Chinese ointment brush to put on the rod. Just get you some bushes. Have a cup of this every day. You can get it free.
Is it also good
This
for
here,
toilet paper?
listen, this here is good for eye trouble. And this here survives through the winter. It's a green. You can make an ointment out of this.
Or,
Sure, you put it in the salad bowl. You can don't get it off the sidewalk, but it's here. Now you who ain't been doing too good in finance
oh yeah.
should have a cup every now and then. Then I'll see you coming to a limousine.
Dr.
Now,
Moore,
what?
isn't that supposed to be good for toilet paper also?
That's right. If we were down by the tracks and you couldn't go, had to go to the bushes, you could get these big leaves and just wipe your behind with it, and you got automatically toilet paper. This is planters. Wild planters.
L-A-N-T-A-I-N. L-A-N-T-A-I-N.
Well, if you have a cup of tea, it will regulate the metabolism of the bone structure in. Wait a minute, you got a napkin? Yeah, the plain planters.
What happened?
That's what that is. And there you go. Now then you got the rattlesnake planters. You remember this? That all the planters in the whole field of planters is a survival green. And it's also one of the best herbs. Only 2 herbs in the herbal kingdom that will stop internal bleeding instant is the planters and shepherd's purse. You can carry it in your pocketbook, and your peoples are in there.
He said only 2 plants that'll stop internal bleeding.
Internal bleeding, you can slip it in your little packet sack and give them 2, 3, and when they get up the next morning, if they bleeding, I'll work for you. Shit, these folks don't know.
Man, he's funnier than Bobby Hemmett. He said, if it don't work, I'll work for you. Wait a minute, hold on.
They'll dream in the sack and give them 2, 3, and when they get up the next morning, if they bleeding, I'll work for you. Shit, these folks don't know. These bullshit. They're dreaming of going to the moon. And here it is. It will solve your eye problem, but you have to use it for the eye hurt. See, dark people bleed. Our ancestors had to use this because they didn't have no money to go to no supermarket. Shit, they were only making $1.50 a day. Yeah. You make a poster of it for your eyes. Put it on the towel and lay it over your eyes. Now you can take that and linden flower and fennel seed and take all the bloodshotness out of the eye. Linden flower and
Linden flower and what?
And fennel seed.
At least they took notes back then. They walk around taking notes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. All right, here we are.
Got a little white boy following them.
Here are the barks from the tree. See the bark? Look at the tree.
Now, I know he's not going to just pull some bark off a goddamn tree and make up something. Let me hear what he got to say, because I haven't even heard this part.
Now, the trees hold the key to different barks. This is a sweet gum. It has cockleberries on it in the fall of the year, little balls. Yeah, this is a sweet gum. This is the eastern sweet gum. Yeah, you got it. You see it in the city. There's one up there. You see the little ball?
Yeah, they are up there.
Now, the trees have reached his full strength when the ball come out. You can take this and the bark of this tree and the oak bark, and you can make a great ointment with the planter's leaves for running sore. The little herb you just left, and you can make an ointment and fry it in oil. And you can make a running sore, like say this lady have a running sore and it would not heal. Such diabetic people do get running sores that do not heal. And the bark there, you can strip it off with a knife. See how you come? And it will heal.
But it comes off automatically.
Yeah, the bark comes off automatically.
He did exactly what I thought he would do.
in the fall of the year, see. And you fry it in olive oil or either fry it in a cooking oil. But the best ointments in the world are made from pork because the hog is poison. And if you have other poison things, sometimes you need. But I know y'all are.
Wait a minute, they said that some of the best ointment you can get is from pork. See, these are guys like him and Dr. Sebi and stuff just making up shit, you know what I mean? Talking about I ain't never read a book before. And you have to have the gift of gab. You know, that's how Polite, you know. That's why Polite and Dr. Sebi hooked up, you know what I mean? You got to have the gift of gab, and they was cross-promoting each other.
Muslim, you roll my wife, all of you become deep religious. But I was just making a note to you that sometimes pork ointments do good results in sunflower seed ointments. To be a horrible student, you cannot be prejudiced. You have to have an open mind. Your idea is to get him well so he can write out you a check. But usually we don't like checks. Cash. You remember that? And if you're treating some president of a country or any kind of representative of a country, you bargain for some kind of citizenship. That's right. Don't ask for $250,000 because you're liable to be robbed before you leave the airport. You bargain for some rights, such bargain rights to stay in the country. All right? You think you remember this tree by yourself? Look at it. Sweet gum. Eastern sweet gum. And the tree is ready now because you see the cuckaberry. All right? Eastern sweet S-W-E-T.
What time did you get the gum come out?
The gum is up during the month of June.
Oh, it's...
And the berry will be here until the fall of the year. Also, you can ground this up. The berries? The little balls of the berry and mix it with cedar wood, and you have an insect repeller that will not eat the cabbage plants in the garden.
Pause. Now, 1983 wasn't no internet like that, right? Wasn't no YouTube, no social media. So it wasn't as easy for these people to fact check what he says. So everybody basically is just taking what he says as the law and the truth. No one will fact check him or anything or go to the library and look up anything. They just believe. So it's just a history of that in this so-called modern day conscious community. Just believing people who talk and spew things.
Cedar wood and the little bird.
So, you know what I mean? So, because it sounds good. So, we, black folk, we be like, it sounds good, then it must be true.
All right. Any questions before we move?
Yeah, you put the bark
The bark, the sweet gum bark, and oak bark, the oak tree, and the berries, and panther's leaf for a running ointment of a sore. There will be many types of sores. Just a minute. Hold on here. There, in diabetics, there are many different types of diabetics. Some diabetics can be cured in 16 days. But you have to
check out the type of cars that's driving by in the background.
Find the red periwinkle. Also, the prickle ash balm. It's a prickle ash tree. It's very good for diabetics. Also, the prickle ash balm is very good for impotence in man and woman. It helps balance the hormones in the female as well as the man. Now, time to time, we're going to give you a sex formula if you get the herbs for it. And it sells from $100 to $200. And some of the sex protein is so heavy, the man don't need but a half a cup. You'd have to get buck naked all day long. So you women better be careful drinking it.
Let me ask y'all a question, and you can type it in the comments if you've gotten this far in the video. Do you think he asked these people for a donation after taking his time and walking around the city of New York, Harlem, teaching? You gotta think that I'm sure they must have, here you go, a couple dollars. Give him a donation for what for taking his time off. Or is this a class? Or did they pay for a little class or every Sunday class?
All right. Right in front of the pew home. These are flowers, but we're not interested in the flower. Here is the smart weed. This is a abortion plant. Right here. See, it's in the flower. Half of the women walk by here drunk. Now inside, don't put it up, inside is smart weed. It's also good for abortion, pennyroyal. You mix it with pennyroyal and it performs a natural abortion. Yet you pass these streets. Smart, S-M, you know, like smart weed. See, smart weed. It gets bigger sometimes when the soil is rich. Inside of it has little seeds. You can take about 8 of these little tops like this here. Take these here and strip them. Don't put it up because it's a pot. And you can pull them out and take white clover and you can produce a loaf of bread. A simple little type of bread for less than a penny. It has a black seed in it. And it's very rich in more minerals than wheat. You
said 8 tops and what?
You take the white clover, you know what the white clover is.
Yeah.
And go out and get the white clover and bring it home and blend it into the flour. It blends into a white powder. And you can bake it. Now you can mix it with peanut butter and flatten it out and put it on the rock and it'll be baked by the sun. The smart weed and white clover, because this plant survives. Sometimes the little plant gets very big in the richness of the soil. But you can mix it with pennyroyal and you got abortion, but it only works once.
Dr. Moore, with the pennyroyal, what about prevention of pregnancy? I heard that pennyroyal and mix it together for prevention against pregnancy.
You want her not to get pregnant?
Yes.
Well, that's a heavy task. Because we are going, don't laugh, I understand.
But you know, like, let's say that
you don't want to have a kid this year.
You don't want to have a child out of wedlock or at the wrong time.
Well, we don't say that in the master field of herbology. We will show you a herb that you can take. When the men blow his whistle and you blow your whistle, it shoot on through. It don't stay. See, when you get pregnant, at the time of you having the sexual mooching and kissing electrons in the cytotron, and when they backfire and discharge, one of them always stops, and that's where the child comes from. But we will show you the herb that you can use. Now, it only works 7 years. During that time, you'd like to kiss your husband during a full moon, because you get in trouble.
But
that
is in the form of planned pregnancy, not just like you don't want any children ever, but let's say that you're doing something for 3 years and you want to wait.
Oh, you don't want to have the babies during 16 and 17 or 18 and 19. You want to have them in the 40s. Sure, there are herbs for that. Now, you'll be in a little trouble, though, because you're allowed to have 16 kids at 40 years old. You can have a baby at 8.
That's right, Dr. Moore. To a certain point, you can't back up the childbirth process because the body craves.
That's right. That's why I'm saying we only can delay it no less than 2 years. Because I'll be going against the law of nature. And I would not like to go against the law. But what you can do, you can take apple cider vinegar just before you and your little chocolate fella get together in the sheets. You can take a slight little douche, take your little white towel and dip it in the apple cider and kind of touch the outside of your little stuff, honey, and it'll slip through.
Not the apple cider vinegar. Folks still making claims about apple cider vinegar today. So you see the origin of that type of stuff. See? See, newbie?
But now you don't want to do this because the law says you must multiply.
Yeah.
Now, what we must worry about, how you going to get them.
All right.
You see?
No, I don't mean like you don't want children. Let's say that you're not sure if this is the person you want to end up with, like in a dating situation, and you don't want to get pregnant. Right? That's what I mean.
It'll last you 7 years. And after that, that is enough. If you can't accomplish your person, now let me tell you something. Being a woman, you have to learn to be a mother as well as a professional future as well. Now, it is meant for some of you not to be mothers. That means you got to know not to let the brother be hitting you every night in the bed. Give him another little room or let him go out and get him $2 and get somebody else. You have to realize that. You have to be a smart woman to set this role because you cannot have a mass of children and a professional life unless the husband understands that. Now, sometimes children and the father and the larger family pull together better than before. And then sometimes children come, pull them away. But really, we are not really supposed to delay the birth control. That is strictly forbidden. You're supposed to have a kid at 100 years old. That means the husband can't be 20. He got to be 19 or 15. Because most men are done for when they get 20, smoking pot and eating cocaine and sniffing potato chips and the other.
That's why I asked you that. It's like, I don't believe in any of the birth control things that are out there because they're all
right then, I will give you the name of the plant and I won't talk about it no more because that's very hard. I'll go slow. So don't write it right together with your plant. Step down. It's a member of the water lily family. It's called bulrush. You see it in your office. The next is peppergrass. I'll show it to you on the way. It's good for obesities and it's also good for the laying bird. I cannot tell you no more. Today, the wild yam, yes, from Belize, Central America. Yeah.
A couple of leaves of root oil.
Rue will bring it down. Also okra, Black seed will bring her spirit down. Okra will bring it down. 2 cups of okra that's not, just boiled in water will bring it down. Yeah, but rue will bring the period quite well. Also, y'all will bring the period down. You know why your period ain't coming down? Your aura ain't right. I'm not talking about you in the public. You better get a bath, honey. Now don't laugh at a whole lot of
Wait a minute now. He said your aura. See the origin of this stuff? The Hinduism. That Hindu, he kicking that Hindu on you.
Your aura ain't right. I'm not talking about you in the public. You better get a bath, honey. Now don't laugh at a whole lot of you need a spiritual bath. This is why men, you see them on the subway, gone, because they suffer from menopause. Menopause is a silent killer, just like heart trouble. You take you some baths, not with no damn soap. Soap don't do shit to the body. You take you some herbal baths. Even take you some sea salt baths, and you'll be all right. Sometimes the period can get clogged.
See, you see how he talks about the woman's menstrual and womb and stuff? This is where Queen Afua and Phil Valentine and everybody picks this stuff up from. This pseudoscience and, he's the guy who married Queen Afua and Phil Valentine. So you know where the womb talk come from.
That's why it's necessary to fast and use certain juices, and you'll be all right. Let us go on now.
Use that bathweed, right?
The bathweed. All right. You cannot delay your birth, though. You women have got to have some kind of problem. So I know you're trying to, but that's against the law. All right, come on over here.
It must be hot as hell out there. He's sweating and shit. Yeah, don't look like he been doing too well with the herbs. He look like he got high blood pressure, all kind of shit.
Hold it. Yeah, we're going next. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. Yeah, you'll be able to see all the great trees in these people's lawn.
Maybe a little bit.
Thank you very much for the
Now here's the sumac here, but sometimes you have to be careful about the sumac because it has been that the peoples have come and it have taken their advice. Let's go around in the shade a minute. Taking what?
Ah, he said, let's go around to the shade a minute, huh?
See the panther's leaves there? Yeah. What's those? See the pepper grass? Right. Pepper grass. It's the pepper grass. All right. Don't put it up. We'll get some better. But see, you have to worry about the herds here because sometimes these herds observe the people. So you have to go a little further. No, that's pepper grass. Put it up a minute. Let me show it to you. Just pull it up. Now listen, you'll learn something. We all love to eat, ain't that right?
Yeah, mustard.
And certain signs of the body, like me, I'm a Capricorn, I would go 100 miles to get a piece of cake. No, don't lie, because you'll learn. Lots of you, some weeks I'm small and some weeks I'm big, ain't that right?
Right.
I don't buy no reducing medicine. Here is a secret for obesis.
Pepper grass. So mix it with what?
You have to mix it with others. But this will season the pot. This is not sold in a herbal shop. You see very little in a herbal book. Now we're going to go on down on the railroad track where it get big, where you can pull it up. And I want you to mix it with chickweed. I'm going to show you the wild chickweed. And you who want to lose weight, watch and see, don't you lose it. And that's $1 billion secret, and it won't come back. Listen, you don't have to put up too much.
Now that leaf shit he got in his hand with some chickweed, take that, and you will lose weight, and it won't come back. Don't worry about working out.
There's one, we are only, this is the one we see. Then you have the mountain pepper grass, where the Indians season the meat pot with it. Look at it. And it tastes just like pepper. Get people's a dime, spending $4,000 to lose weight, and you got it right among your feet. And along the railroad track, it grows very big. But you must remember that the sumac leaves break off a piece. Everybody should break off a piece of the sumac to smell it. Smell it. Get over here and smell it. So you know what it is.
What's David over there?
That's right. What it smell like? What is odor? Bad odor, ain't it? This is the light. This is the light sumac. The other sumac stinks when we get around the corner. It smells. Yeah, and it smells. All of these are good for internal swelling. It also can go into protection ointment. All right? That's right. All right, let me show you. Say let me, yeah.
No, just to be real though, about 90%, he could be higher, of what he's teaching is actually false. So, like, even though it seems innocent, it's miseducation at its highest. You know what I'm saying? even though it's entertaining, it's all bullshit. You know what I mean? But you know, we like bullshit, I guess.
Yeah, those are the bushes that are used in juju ointment. It has to come out in the fall. Say that I sprung my leg right quick. I just strip the leaves and take my pocket and just go to the hydrant and wrap it and hold it up. You will see the swelling going right out. This makes a liniment with red cayenne pepper. Will knock you out. If you have blood clots in the blood, it will dissolve without butter. Now this one is not stinky. You got to get the stinky one around the corner.
The stinky one's the better one?
The stinky one is better. Anything this don't smell. We're gonna get one that has an odor and make you leave it if you don't know what you're doing. But the odor is the chemical substance in it. See, there are a mild sumac and then there's a plain. Oh, she's scared to death.
Dr. Moore, what was this part for?
As your lunch, you just don't spray your lunch.
Dr. Moore, what was this part for? What was this part
These
for?
are the leaves.
I know, but what's this part?
You don't pick them until they are dry.
Huh?
These are the sumac berries. They're used for juju. Black
He says they're used for juju.
protection and stuff like that. All right? They're not ready now. You can feel it. You think you'll remember it by yourself? It don't smell. One smell and one don't. All right? You don't break the tea, you're bad. All right,
So, y'all know for years, what my Facebook friends do, for years I've always been saying Bobby Hemmett and Phil Valentine. People ask me what I think about them. I said they are master myth makers. It's what they are. They're master myth makers. So they tell mythological bullshit stories so well and sound so good. So he's the same way. He's just a myth maker. So he's a master myth maker. He can just have the gift of gab to just make up something on the spot.
So Dr. Moore, how come on some of the sumac trees, inside there's some things on there that looks like that, but the inside it turns brown?
all right, pull that one up, and you'll see the difference. That one smells. Pull that one up.
Oh, so the tree doesn't smell and the bushes smell?
But the bushes smell. Pull it up.
Oh, I see.
Now get a leaf and see it yourself.
No, but usually on the highways, right? When we travel on the highways, we see that there's some things that grow up inside that's brown on some of the sumac. What is that for?
That's a fungus. That's a mushroom. Fungus of a sumac. Yeah. No, you go and see. You go and smell it so you know. That one have an odor. It dissolves sweat. Now smell this one and different of the other one. See it?
Dr. Moore, Gail's daughter had fell down and she had said that you had used the sumac and put it on her forehead, and the next day the scale had came off.
All right, listen. Everybody is hot here now, ain't they right? Go over there and pull off 2 leaves and just rub your forehead with it.
Why did you say you got blood?
Let's go over there and get a piece. Go over and get your 2 leaves off the bush.
Let me ask you this. Why did you say the sumac is blood clots?
It dissolves blood clots in the leg. If the leg is swelling and have blood clots, you make it as a bolster. Rub your forehead with it.
This one does smell sweeter.
How you feel?
Cool.
Go over there and get a sumac and rub your forehead. See, like this here. Don't be scared, you ain't gonna die. See here, rub it.
Dr. Moore.
Rub it.
Is this mullen?
Yeah, that's the top of the mother. Now rub your head good. Don't you feel it?
It's a cooling
I just found it.
Yeah.
Brother Benson, open up the little sack. Just sit still. You can cross the desert. Run your hand in and get a few little grasses.
What's
It's
this?
a lemongrass.
Oh, let me make sure.
Oh, yeah, that'll cool us off. That makes you cool. What's the lemongrass do?
Okay, I'll get some.
Don't grab too much.
Bag I know. Thank you, yes.
Pass it around.
Who wants the lemon?
You.
Lemongrass. Make some lemongrass. Lemongrass.
Pass it around, brother.
Oh, we got to talk to me just like lemon. There you go.
What's the belly?
I don't know.
Do it now.
You got some?
Well, that's John E. Moore. Dr. John E. Moore, the hobo herbologist. So those are two of Phil Valentine's friends. And
even added
I just wanted to make a video tonight and kill some time. called Phil Valentine Exposes Queen Afua. Now y'all have a nice night. I'm out of here.